I'm going to let you determine right now. Should I turn left or right? Left or right? I'm going to listen to audience participation. Okay, this way. All right. Hi, I'm Nick Shell, and I talk about hair loss. And thank you for your concern about my son being in the hospital here recently. Thank God he didn't have to have surgery, and thank God he's okay. What I want to talk about today, and I'm sure that in many indirect ways an albatross. In many ways I've covered, stop. I'm gonna go this way now. I'm sorry that even though you voted for me to go that way, it all changed, but seriously, that bird. Okay, he's like that bird on Super Mario Brothers 2, like the big red one you could ride across that whole level in 6-2. Okay, what I want to talk about is kind of the gradient scale of how we collectively, as the brothers of the hair loss, which I'm the founder of and the host of, we are all part of this. You know, we have our ways of dealing with losing our hair, and so I just started thinking about this. What made me think about it is actually with Trump being inaugurated, and how, you know, you watch the inauguration and there's all these people happy about him. Meanwhile, there's all these groups apparently doing all these marches, and so you've got these extremes, and then you've got people like me in the middle thinking, okay, well, I didn't vote for him, but he's our president, so okay, I'm gonna go along with it, whatever, you know. That's how it was with Obama. So as I was thinking about that, I was thinking about how as we deal with hair loss, we've kind of got that same scale. And so we've got the way this channel all began was when I was shaving my head and buzzing my hair and talking about embracing it and talking about all of that. So there's a whole school of people who do that to embrace their hair loss and or to deal with their hair loss, if you want to say that's probably better. And those were the original pioneers of people who subscribed to my channel. And then as I was starting to grow my hair out a little bit, accidentally stumbled into this whole topic about hair transplants, and even reading off the side effects of Propecia. So it's like on one end you've got people who are going to be more of the, I'm going to make up names, let's call them the new fundamentalist. These people who continue the concept that it is cool and masculine just to shave your head and embrace it and be done with it. That if those were the fundamentalists, we've got those, which I'll get to where I stand in the scale in a second. But then as we get closer over here, then we've in the middle maybe, or maybe, I don't know, maybe closer to this side, we've got people who are taking some kind of drugs, whether it's you know, essential oils like I'm trying out right now, or whether it's Propecia or any of those drugs. They're doing those to keep their hair, grow their hair back. And then maybe on far on this side, we've got the people who are proponents of getting a hair transplant. And the reason I'm putting them far on this side is, to me, that's the complete opposite of buzzing your hair off. A hair transplant, not that I'm against anyone getting one, do it if that's what you want to do. It's just, to me, that seems kind of an extreme thing. It requires surgery, and from what I can understand, it would be an ongoing thing as you continue losing your hair. So to me, that's pretty extreme. That's the opposite of just shaving your hair off and embracing it, which again is not a problem. What it is it's showing the gradient scale of people who are represented here in the Brotherhood of the Hair Loss. And you know, I've made a video or two before talking about how there's the division in our own group, but ultimately, as the host, which I would like to see myself right in the middle of that gradient scale, I'm here to say, you know what, do whatever works for you and gives you confidence and make you happy and have peace about all this. You know, that's my role. I've been on both extremes, keeping in mind that even though these videos started out with me shaving, buzzing my head and doing videos about that, keep in mind my testimonial that in college I decided that I was going to get hair transplants when I became you know, mid-30s and husband and dad. I would get a hair transplant. That was what I was going to do. Of course, I ended up changing my mind, but for years, that's what I was planning on doing when I first really started noticing my hairline receding. That's what I decided to do. So I have lived through both sides of it, and kind of calibrated myself back closer just to where I am right this moment is just embracing it by growing it out and seeing what I can still do with it. But we all know that, you know, if I continue to lose my hair, I'm going to go back more to the what I call the new fundamentalists, the ones who are proving that having a buzzed head or shaved head is cool. So hopefully that makes sense as far as this gradient scale. But I thought it would just be helpful to address this and talk about it because, again, I accept everyone, no matter where you are on the scale. And maybe even outside the scale, there's people who aren't even losing their hair, but they watch this anyway. And I know that they're out there, so I don't even know where they'd fall on the scale if you're not actually losing your hair. But still, I think even if you're not losing your hair, you have some kind of opinion or plan on what either you personally would do or what you think, you know, people should do or looks best on them. You've got some kind of opinion. You've got a way that you can identify yourself on that gradient scale. So again, I'm just making this stuff up. I'm creating it as the as the founder of the Brotherhood of the Hair Loss. And to my knowledge, no one in human history has ever done this because this is a more recent thing now that we have hair transplant propitias and shaving head is cool. So this is a new phenomenon, which I am in this video beginning to put a measurement on. So a gradient scale. The new fundamentalists, the ones who say shave or buzz it off and just fully embrace it. Then somewhere as we get, I don't know if it's middle, I don't know if I'm the middle, because technically I'm using those oils to see if it helps the hair. So we can maybe even call that the middle. You're using something to retain the hair. You've got to even try to regrow it through some kind of oil or chemical or drug, something like that. But on the far end over here is hair transplant. Because that, by default, compared to the other things, is the extreme. That's going to cost a lot more money. That's going to require surgery, and probably more than one. Again, not bashing it. I don't want to make it seem like I'm doing that, because I'm accepting all of those things as ways that we deal with it. So, what do you think about that gradient scale? I feel pretty proud of myself for thinking of that, but I think it's very important for us because I don't want to see division in the group. I don't want there to, just like, and this all started with this division when I started noticing it, when I'd have people condemn me basically for being a hypocrite because here I am hosting a hair loss video series when I have too much hair. And then I've got the other people on the other side saying, yeah, man, you're freaking going bald quick. Look how bald you're going. And so, you know, really I'm the guy in the middle, and I know that. So being the guy in the middle, it makes the most sense that I created this chart. So go ahead and just internalize that and process that and realize that you're somewhere on that scale, and so are the other nearly 1,000 subscribers watching these videos, hearing this stuff day after day, seeing this from their own perspective, because so much of it is relevant. You filter what I say through your own scale based on, or you filter what I say, based on where you are on that scale. It's going to have a different meaning based on that. Sometimes whatever you're thinking, I'm going to hit it right on the mark. Other times you're not. If you watch my other older videos from a year ago, you may disagree with a lot of what I say or not relate to it just simply because I was growing on a buzz cut, and now look at my hair. So there we go. The hair loss gradient scale, is that what I should call it? Where we can identify where we stand and how we identify with what we decide to do about dealing with our hair loss. I'm Nick Shell. The next video I make will not be about vegan. You will want to watch it. It's actually about, of all things, Metallica.